Fiona, and today we're going to be making some homemade icebox cake. So what you're going to need for this, your tools are going to be a nice long tray to put it all in, a whisk, and a bowl to whip up your whipped cream. You can use store-bought whipped cream, but it usually works better if you do homemade. And I'm using a stand mixer, but you can use a normal beater, so it's just going to take a little longer. So for the whipped cream, you're going to need some vanilla, sugar, and heavy whipping cream. And the last thing you need are whatever you're using as your wafers. I'm using chocolate graham crackers, but you can use the normal wafers, you can use Oreo thins, really whatever works for you. Now we're gonna start by making the whipped cream. So first, you're going to take your heavy whipping cream and open it. You have to be a little careful with this because you don't want it to splatter all over. And then you're going to pour it into your bowl. I have a nice and big bowl. Heavy whipping cream grows a lot, so you're gonna need a pretty big bowl. This is also 1 pint of it, which is just my reference of what I use. Usually there'll be some left over when you use a pint. Then I take my vanilla. I don't really measure my vanilla. I just do a cap's worth. And then you take your sugar. I don't really measure anything for the whipped cream because it's mostly preference. So also I wash my hands before. Make sure you do that because you don't want to be sticking your hands into anything if they're not clean. I'm just doing like 2 pinches of sugar. And then we go and whip it. Okay, now that we're by our stand mixer, you can use a normal hand mixer. Really whatever works for you and whatever you have. I'm just connecting mine. I bring it a little forward so you can see better. And connecting the whisk attachment because we're whipping this. Then, bring it nice and up. And you're gonna wanna put it on a medium-high speed because this is also gonna take a while. You wanna give it like around 5 to 10 minutes because you want it to have pretty stiff peaks. So I'll be back when that's done. Okay, now that we're done whipping it, we came back to our table to sandwich it together with the cookies. So basically, if you don't know what medium stiff peaks means, it means that when you take the whipped cream and lift it up, it stays in kind of peaks, like it doesn't fluff down. So this is what it's gonna start to look like, and you just keep repeating that until you fill the whole tray. So I'll be back when that's about done. Okay, now it should look something like this. Obviously, it's gonna look a little different if you're using the normal wafers or Oreo thins, but if you are using the graham crackers, then this is what it will look like. Our next step is to now take the rest of the whipped cream and almost just wash it on top. And then later, you're just gonna spread it off to the side. So all I'm doing is just taking what's left. There should be a good amount if you're using a pint. If you're using a little less, there won't be as much, but you don't need that thick of a layer if you don't want. It's really up to preference, and after you have it a few times, you'll figure out your preference. So now that I just poured a ton on top, I just like to smooth it out, and it goes off the edges naturally, and then I smooth that out. So basically, you just want a thick enough layer that you don't really see the crackers, or like the edges of the crackers. So then you take the side and you spread that out also until the whole thing is covered. Okay, and now we're done covering it. It's not perfect, but if it's all covered, then you're fine. Now for your last step, all you're gonna do is take it and put it in the fridge or freezer for preferably overnight. And there you go, that's your icebox cake.